I will now begin the tablet tutorial for task 5. As you can see here, I have the pseudocode. So up here at the top bit, we've got the loop is set to unlimited. Now everything else will go inside the loop, so we'll add that first. We're then going to add a switch block. The switch block will control the sensor and how the robot functions, and we want that to be using the color sensor reflected light. What that's going to do, that's going to ask the question, is it white? And when the robot or the sensor asks the question, is it white, it will either answer true or false. If it answers true, we want the robot to stop. If it answers, is it white, false, we want the robot to move. Okay, now let's build this program. I'm going to shrink this up a little bit. Right, we want to start with the loop block. So I'll click on flow control and I'll grab my loop block and I'll drop that down in here. And by default, this is set to unlimited. Next, we want to add in the switch block, which is here next to the loop. So I'm going to drag that and drop that into place. You know, just to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to expand some of this here. Just so when we're doing this, we can see everything that's going on a little bit easier. Okay, let's pull this out a little bit more and pull that up. Okay, so just to make my programming a little bit easier, I'm going to drag this down here and I'm going to place this above my switch block. I'm going to configure my switch block. So my switch block, I want it to be set as a color sensor. So I'll select color sensor, compare, then reflected light intensity. Okay. We then have two new parameters open up. We have this one, which is equal to, not equal to, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to. And the next one is the value that the light sensor is looking for to decide which is true or false. And obviously, if it's less than 50, that would be true. If it's greater than 50, that would be false. Now, let's start with the true tab. Notice we have a tick here is the true and the X is the false. So in the true tab, I'm going to pull my true false down here so it's a little easier to find when I'm doing this. Now, if the robot sees white, true, we want our robot to stop. So I'm going to grab a move steering block. I'm going to drag it and drop it here inside the false tab. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to expand that out so that I can drop this here inside like that, just to make programming a little easier to understand. So reflected is asking, is it true? If it's true, we want the robot to stop. So I will select off. Now, if we want the robot to detect, is it white, false, let's click the false tab. I'm going to put this in here. We want the robot to move. So again, I will select a move steering block. I'll drag it and drop it into here. Now what we want to do, we want the sensor to control the movement. So move, we're going to leave that to on. Okay, I'm just going to minimize this down a little bit, see if I can control this, just to get it more clearly on the screen for you. So we've got the question, is it white? And the loop box set. So let's just do a quick double check. So we go switch block, color sensor reflected light. The sensor asks, is it white? If the answer is true, the robot stops. It goes all the way back round. And again, ask the question, is it true? If the answer is false, the robot moves. Okay, let's connect our robot and download the program. Okay, there's my robot there. Awesome. Okay, I'll download that and then go and test the robot.